So I've been using the iPhone here for a while. That's an iPhone 10s Max. Did I satisfy anyone? No. Okay, I satisfied no one because everybody's gonna say, "Oh, you don't understand. It's better." And then on the flip side, everyone's gonna say, "Why would you do that? Why were you using it?" There was so many thumbs down on the video. I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna switch to the iPhone." It's all crazy, to be honest, guys. I've been saying it. Please hear me on this. Like, these things, they're tools. Like, you don't have to fly the flag. All right, like, you don't have to carry the torch for these brands. They just want a few dollars from you. That's it. That's all they care about, which is fine. If the exchange takes place, you get the value out of it. Beautiful. But let's not pretend, all right, that these things have not, let's not pretend that they haven't gotten closer and closer and closer. And now they're all basically doing the same thing. But let's just be honest with each other. I want to be honest, with you. So I used it for a while. I went back because, like I said in the previous video, I said there's this tough part about covering Apple as extensively as you do Android, only because they put out devices once per year and they make the only hardware for their software. So you end up covering it at this one point in the year, and then the rest of the year you're constantly interacting with all these various Android devices and switching between them. And I think a lot of iOS people feel left out in the content because it's only like a couple weeks that I'm even on this device typically. So I went back to it, a little revisit. And now this is kind of my report, the mid-game, halftime report. It's a great phone. It's fine. Like, the camera's good. iOS is fine. I could live on it. Like, it's really not a problem. I could easily live my life on either platform, iOS or Android. Never dove fully into the iMessage thing just because my life is full of different people on different messaging apps. So when people say to me, I can't possibly leave iOS because of iMessage, like, that doesn't really apply to me. I got people on text. I got people in WhatsApp. I got people in Slack. We talk in Slack in the studio because we're a startup. When you're a startup, you got to talk on Slack. So I don't want my platform to tie me down to a particular messaging app. I just don't like that concept. Otherwise, everything else maps over. The app experiences are very similar now. Of course, once upon a time, I felt that there was a real advantage in the iOS app experiences compared to Android. That's less the case now. Camera-wise, I liked it. I like this phone, but it wasn't like Pixel-esque for me. Now, this is subjective. This is your own personal taste. It's a really good camera still for a smartphone. And we're talking about tiny little slivers of potential difference and potential taste differences and so forth. The notch, you can see I have a black background. So I still didn't like this notch. I never fully embraced it. Face ID I lived with, but I put a black background to diminish the significance of the notch. That's one of the things that I'm excited to experiment using, something notch-less. You can probably guess where I'm going from there. But there's one painful thing for me on this particular device. It's the notification system. Man, this could be exclusive to me, and I've talked about it in the past. I get a lot of notifications. Likely some of that has to do with the fact that a lot of people, tweet at me. And even though I have stuff turned off, do not disturb, my notifications page is such a disgusting nightmare most of the day. And I'm scrolling down and I'm clicking X's. And I guess I forget sometimes on Android how much of my life I'm actually managing in the notification pane, and how I'm looking for efficiencies within notifications to get more done right within notifications without going somewhere else. And I still feel like, as much as Apple has improved, it's still not on the same page. And it's the one thing that when I cross between platforms that I notice, and it's the most glaring. Now, there are some nice things. I did mention AirPods. I find AirPods to be very convenient, and pairing them on an iOS native device, super easy to do. So seamless. You get to skip a step compared to the Android counterpart. So nothing wrong with the phone. Lots of people are happy with the phone. It's fine. Okay, it's just fine. Bottom line. But of course, things have moved on. Things have progressed. And so it's time to flip over. That's a recap on my experience. For the record, I should just say, I feel like since we do have the camps, and you do have the warfare, and you do have the back and forth, iOS is better, more secure, privacy argument, ecosystem argument. And then on the Android side, it's more open, configurable, like whatever, this whole back and forth scenario that goes on. I want it to be clear at this point that no matter which phone we're talking about, modern flagship device in 2019, they are more similar than different, okay? So the idea of screaming about it, the idea of the the petty arguments, the personal attacks. It really, it's not only does it not make any sense, but it's kind of stupid. Like, it doesn't actually apply. Like, there's not much of a point to be made there coming from a guy who uses all this stuff and gets on with it and gets on with life and does just fine. So anyhow, that's the phone, most requested. This is what people want me to switch to, and it makes a lot of sense. A lot of people actually felt that I didn't go in depth enough on this guy. Like, a lot of people were like, hey, Lou, we want more information. Where's a review? Where's a long-term usage scenario? Of course, it's the OnePlus 7 Pro. Tons of attention on this device. A lot of fans for this device specifically. Yes, it's expensive comparative to their previous versions, but arguably you're getting more. It's a notchless design. Like I said, latest chipset inside. One of the things I'm going to miss, I'll tell you straight away, wireless charging. Again, not worth arguing over. I understand you get much faster charging without wireless, but like, it's one of those things. It would be nice to have. Why not have it? I'm still kind of mad about it. But anyway, I'll move on. I'll get past it. Another area of concern for me is right here on the back on the camera. I heard that they're going to... Look at that finish, though. Holy moly. On camera, that looks wild. Nebula blue. Here in the camera department, on the previous version, OnePlus 6T, I went ahead and installed the Google Camera app, loaded the APK on there, and saw improvements in the camera performance. So I think a lot of this has to do with software, but if you watch the original video on this, I wasn't super impressed with my initial tests on the camera. Uh-oh, not the most friendly there on the contrast. It blew out my cheek. OnePlus, to me, now it's kind of into premium territory. I understand the price is not $1,000, but it's creeping ever closer. And when you look at the spec list, and you look at the experience, and you look at the user experience, and the fact that many people are saying this is the fastest phone out there with the 90 hertz display, and the Snapdragon 855, it's like, yeah, call it a flagship, call it what it is. So anyhow, it's the switch, it's happening now. And I should mention at this point that I'll probably follow up with this to a certain extent. I'll do some check-ins, I'll do some follow-ups, I'll take your questions on this transition, and specifically on the OnePlus 7 Pro relating to certain issues. I've already started to catalog a few of the questions and concerns, but I'll continue to take more and likely address them on the second channel with the more discussion-based format. That's the Lou Later channel, which if you haven't checked it out, I'll link it down in the description. And if you do have questions, specific questions about this, you can hit up Willie Do. He will, he'll try to go through them. He'll try to curate them. It's will@loulater.com. I'll link that in the description as well. And you can hit him up, and then hopefully he can surface the best questions to me on that show. So make sure to do that. Okay, so here we go. SIM card tray. And the SIM is in. All right, there we go, Jack. It's official. The SIM is in. I'm back on Android for now. Like, it's no fanfare. Nothing to celebrate. All right, this ain't about the fanboy situation. This is just life in the fast lane, in the tech game, on YouTube. Use it all. Appreciate it all. Make the comparisons. That's where I'm at in 2019. Let's do it.